afternoon, Commissioner Gross, Mayor Dyer, Commissioners, and Clint. With OUC's commitment to make safety first, we begin each commission meeting with a safety briefing in the event we have an emergency. We are located at 100 West Anderson Street in the Commission Chambers on the 7th floor. We have 3 emergency exits, one at the front of the room, in the center, and also at the back. Our gathering point for everyone within this room, if we need to evacuate the building, we will exit the nearest door and proceed to the stairwell to the far right or the far left of the hallway. At the end of the hall, you will proceed down the stairs. Our meeting place will be the surface parking lot under the 408. We have an AED and first aid kit located in the sound closet to the back of the room. The primary to grab that will be Chris McCullion. We have fire extinguishers just outside in the front in the vestibule doorways. Our 911 primary will be Carlos, and his backup will be Orlando. I will be your medical person for the room, and we'll be the lead with CPR should we need it. The security team will assist with directing emergency responders into the building and up to the 7th floor. That concludes our safety moment for this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that very important message. All right, we'll move now to the moment of reflection. Stephanie Arroyo-Koo, will you provide, please, the moment of reflection, please?
Good afternoon, Commissioner Gross, Mayor Dyer, Commissioners, and Clint. Have you ever heard the term April showers bring May flowers? Growing up in the Pacific Northwest, March and April were the rainy months where every day it would be cloudy and rainy, dark, gloomy all day, every day. And I would look out the window at the beads of water that trickled down the glass, and I would say, April showers bring May flowers. And I would say this because I was telling myself that the rain wasn't going to last forever. It would stop soon. And in the month of May, there would be colorful tulips, roses, and daisies, a vast array of flowers to enjoy. Without even knowing it, I was reciting a mantra for life. A mantra I still recite today, that although it may be gloomy now, it will not stay this way forever. There is more than just hope in saying April showers bring May flowers. There is a deeper knowing that the seasons of rain will not stay. You see, seasons are cyclical, just like life. In life, we have seasons of gloom, rainy seasons, seasons with thunderstorms, hail, and sometimes winds that seem to last far too long. But afterwards, there are flowers that bloom. Flowers bloom from cracks in pavement, from between the bricks of walls. Flowers bloom amongst thorns. They grow out of the mud, and they even grow in places where there is little water at all. And that is a metaphor for life, that April showers bring May flowers, because no matter what storm you may be facing, the storm will not only pass, but flowers will bloom. You don't even need to hope that they will bloom, because the seeds already exist in the soil, just like the seeds of perseverance, resilience, and transformation exist within all of us. As we step into a new season of spring this year, I hope that all of you have that knowing that there are flowers blooming on the horizon. That as you move forward in your life, with each step you take, with each breath you make, with each smile you give, and with every hand you shake, you are contributing to the lives of others. You are making a difference in the world around you, no matter how big or small the distance you walk. April showers bring May flowers, and every day what you do, what you say to yourself, what you say to others matters a great deal. You matter, so make today count. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was, seemed especially relevant, I'll just say. Thank you very much, Stephanie. All right, we'll move to the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to invite Maribel Ellison to come forward and lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Let me give you her background. Ms. Ellison served in the U.S. Army for 6 years, achieving the rank of Specialist. Ms. Ellison has worked at OUC for 5.5 years, and her current title is Manager of Credit and Collections. Please stand and join for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your service, too. All right, the time is now 2:07, looks like 7, and I will call the April 7th Commission meeting to order. All right, President Landman Gonzalez is not in attendance today, as you can see, therefore I'll be presiding over the meeting. I'd like to acknowledge that we do have a quorum present this afternoon. Our first agenda item is the consideration of the January 20th, 2026 Commission meeting minutes, which was deferred at our last meeting. I'll entertain a motion to waive the reading of the Commission meeting minutes. Perhaps, Mayor?
I'll move the minutes.
Thank you very much, and adopt them as published. We have a motion from the mayor, and I will second. Is there any discussion? All right, approved. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you. Motion passes. The next agenda item is the consideration of the March 3rd, 2026 Commission meeting minutes. I'll entertain a motion to
Move
waive
approval.
the reading. Mayor has moved that we waive the reading of the minutes and adopt them as published. Do we have a second?
Second.
And we have a second as well. Thank you. Is there any discussion? If there's no discussion, we'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, and opposed? No, motion passes. Thank you all. All right, we're going to move to awards. We have no service awards this month, so we'll proceed with the employee and community recognitions. I see a big group of folks back there that are probably anxious for this to start. I'll begin by reading a proclamation, though, before I get into all of this. Let me read a proclamation. Sorry, guys. I'm so out of practice sitting here in this chair, as you guys know. All right, here we go. All right. Guys, it's April. April is Water Conservation Month. I know almost everybody in this room knows that. So let me read this for you, please. Whereas clean, safe, and sustainable water resources are vital to the city of Orlando and Orange County economy, the environment, our citizens, and our visitors, and whereas the state of Florida, the St. John's and South Florida Water Management Districts, and the Orlando Utilities Commission are collaborating to increase awareness about the importance of water conservation, and whereas the OUC and the state of Florida have designated April, typically a very dry month, as Water Conservation Month to educate citizens about preserving precious water resources, and in this 28th year of observance, the focus is on maintaining rain shutoff devices to support efficient irrigation and prevent unnecessary watering. Whereas the OUC continues to provide residential and commercial customers with programs and rebates that support water conservation. Whereas the OUC has helped residential and commercial customers save over 143 million gallons of water by conducting more than 2,600 free in-person water conservation audits in 2025. And whereas last year the OUC issued 144 paid rebates to residential and commercial customers, yielding a projected lifetime savings of 42,359,000 gallons of water. And whereas the OUC is advancing in alternative water supply initiatives, including a future reverse osmosis water treatment plant to support long-term sustainability and ensure a reliable water supply for our community. And whereas every organization and citizen can make a difference when it comes to saving water by regularly checking for leaks and using water responsibly. Now, therefore, the OUC does hereby proclaim the month of April as Water Conservation Month in the OUC service territory, which includes the city of Orlando and portions of unincorporated Orange County, and urges all residents and businesses to help protect our precious resources by practicing water-saving measures. In witness whereof, Commission President Linda Landman Gonzalez, typically, and General Manager and CEO Clint Bullock, dated the 7th day of April, 2026. Thank you. Thank you for entertaining the water proclamation. I would like to also at this moment acknowledge Ms. Deirdre Irwin, Water Conservation Coordinator at St. John's River Management District, who is in attendance today. Hi, Deirdre. Ms. Irwin, would you like to make comments today and address the commission?
Thank you so much, Mayor Dyer, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to say a few words. So as you said, it's our 28th year acknowledging Water Conservation Month. We're doing something right. It's raining. So we're very encouraged. We might keep Central Florida out of a drought situation.
That's true.
But I just thank you so much. This is very important for both the district, for our various utilities, and I appreciate everything that OUC is doing to conserve water. Thank you.
Thank you. A hugely important topic that we talk about from time to time at these board meetings, too. All right, thank you for that, Ms. Irwin. All right, Ms. Aviles, would you like to present the next employee and communication recognition?
I would, thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioner Gross, Commissioners, Mayor Dyer, Clint. Thank you for this opportunity to present to you what OUC's been involved in, how OUC's been involved in the community over the past quarter. Spring is especially busy for us this time of year with numerous outdoor community events going on. We'd like to take advantage of, amongst other things, the beautiful weather we have to get out there. So over the last 3 months, OUC has supported and engaged in 30 community-wide events across both Orange and Osceola counties. These events supported 40 nonprofit community organizations and helped educate, connect, and benefit thousands of residents. This quarter also featured one of OUC's most popular signature events, which was our golf tournament that took place on March 14. And you'll hear more about that from me in a little bit. But first, let's take a look at how and where the OUC team has been to support the community in this past quarter.
Progress is possible when we choose to invest in people, in communities, and in the world we share. Our 4 pillars: education, economic development, social impact, and environmental stewardship aren't just words, they're commitments. They're the way we show up, the way we lead, and they're the way we build a better future together.
Well, it means a lot because we are a family here at OUC. It means a lot to be working with my family. It means a lot to be working in a large group because together we can change a lot of lives.
I think people just think like, oh, the lights went off and then they came back on, they pressed buttons and they made it work. It's like, no, they're having to do this in hurricanes, in snow, tornadoes, rain, all sorts of crazy conditions.
It's a great day. It's a little windy, sunny, beautiful, a great day for golf here in Central Florida. To begin with, our employees, their families, retirees, partners, and everyone in our community that impact not only OUC but the community are here today, and it's a beautiful day.
See you next year!
Proof that when we live our values, we create impact that lasts. This is who we are. This is how we lead. And this is how we build a future we can all be proud of.
We're always happy to share that with you. And as you can tell, we've been pretty busy out there. So we have an exciting Earth Month, another month full of activities. There's 12 events designed to engage our community throughout the month of April, educating customers and promoting environmental stewardship. At your seats, you'll find a list of the events and activations our teams will be participating in throughout the month, and you're certainly welcome to engage in any way you want to at those events. So I would like to thank all of our employees for their passion and their creativity, to you, our board, for your support and allowing OUC to continue to invest in our community. So now I'm happy to share with you the results of this year's charity annual golf tournament. Like you just saw, there it is. So, and although she's not in attendance today, I especially want to thank President Landon Gonzalez for spending some time out there with us, saying thank you and hello to our sponsors and to the players and engaging with our beneficiaries at the event. This marked the 31st year of OUC giving back to the community through this event. I'm proud to share that since we first teed off, we have given over $1 million in donations supporting 91 organizations throughout Osceola and Orange counties. Each year, we choose 4 nonprofits who are really creating a positive impact to benefit from the tournament, each representing one of OUC's 4 community pillars, which include social impact, economic development, educational outreach, and environmental stewardship. It's a privilege to partner with these exceptional organizations that are doing great things throughout Central Florida. I'd like to take a moment to highlight each of the 4 organizations before we ask them to come up to accept their official check and take a picture with you, Commissioner Gross and Clint. So to start, for environmental responsibility, the WASH Foundation, known as Clean the World, helps reduce pollution, save water, and decrease the carbon footprints of thousands of hotels globally. They work with more than 8,600 hotels and hospitality partners, 500 of them right here in Orlando, to divert their soap bars and plastic amenities from the landfills and then recycle the collected soap into new bars for use. This waste reduction and recycling program helps improve the lives of women, children, and communities across the world. We also had supporting education, the Education Foundation of Osceola County. They've empowered over 74,000 students, both inside and outside the classroom, through innovative programs, strong community partnerships, and continued scholarship support. The foundation works to remove barriers and invest in the community throughout Osceola County. In economic development, we had the Indian American Business Chamber. As Florida's largest Indian American business chamber, they represent more than 800 businesses promoting economic development, entrepreneurship, and community engagement across Central Florida. The chamber's curated events and programs support strong engagement, leadership development, and collaborative growth, opportunities that help residents, businesses, and the region thrive. And then in our 4th pillar, which is social impact, we had the Senior Resource Alliances, or we have the Senior Resource Alliance, and they've been involved in our community during the past 40 years. Their mission is to help residents age with dignity and independence. The Alliance has assisted over 30,000 seniors and their caregivers navigate and secure elder support resources through a host of local, state, and national organizations. So we're really proud to be able to support them. And I'm also proud to announce that this year, through our collective efforts and our generous sponsors, OUC is able to donate $58,000, which means $14,500 to each organization represented here today. So I think that deserves an applause. We're able to give them. And so one more thing before we invite these organizations to come up and accept that check, I want to give a special shout out to our title sponsors, Hitachi Energy and Wesco. Thank you both for your continued support of this event. And so now Commissioner Gross and Clint, if you don't mind coming up front, I'll ask Queen, somewhere, there she is, Queen, to help us hand out the checks, and she'll also guide you to the right place for your picture. So I'll start with Stephen Davis, the Director of Development of the WASH Foundation. Thank you, Stephen, for being with us today. That's take the whole thing. Don't leave that behind. Stefan, don't leave that behind. All right, next we have Carrie Avery, the Executive Director of the Education Foundation of Osceola County. Please come on up. So much. All right, next, Carla Radka, President and CEO of the Senior Resource Alliance. Thank you, Carla. And finally, Peter Patel, President of the Indian American Business Association and Chamber. Thank you. To these deserving organizations, our generous sponsors, supportive players, passionate employees, and everyone whose efforts contributed to the success of the event, thank you for helping strengthen our community. And Commissioner Gross, thank you for stepping in on the pictures. You did great.
Oh, it's all good. All good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations to everybody. Oh, is it me? Somebody's waiting for me. All right. I think I'm introducing Mr. Fee, Eddie Fee,
Yes.
to talk about FMEA and APPA line workers. Yeah.
Is the clicker? Very good. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Mayor Dyer, Clint. I have the special privilege today of sharing with you all how our OUC line technicians performed at both the Florida Municipal Electric Association and American Public Power Association lineman competitions over this past month. As anticipated, our line technicians performed really, really well at both events. Thank you. Also known as the Lineman Rodeo, this year's FMEA competition was hosted by the city of Tallahassee on March 13th and 14th. A little bit about the rodeo format for those that aren't familiar. It's broken up into two categories, apprentices and journeymen. So the apprentice competitions involve line technicians with up to 4 years of experience. They compete individually in overhead exercises and a written exam that tests their knowledge of safe work practices. The more tenured line technicians on the journeyman side, they compete in teams in a series of overhead and underground distribution events. Judges evaluate the line technicians on their skills and safe work practices in a series of timed events that mimic real-world scenarios that they face in the field. And as they go along, points are deducted for mistakes or what they call gigs. In total, we had 8 apprentices and 3 journeyman teams compete at the FMEA event. Pictured here are some of the events that they competed in, including those and changing out insulators, cutouts, bad cables, things like that. If I can direct your attention to the screen, we have a short video that sort of summarizes the FMEA competition.
We are here in Tallahassee, Florida at the FMEA Lineman Rodeo Competition. It's a great day, nice and warm, and I'm extremely proud of them. It gives them an opportunity to hone their skills, to train, get better, practice events like the Hurt Man Rescue, doing different type of events that they normally do during the work day and during the work week. And also, one of the biggest parts is the camaraderie that they get from meeting other people and other utility companies and just sharing knowledge and just furthering that brotherhood that we have amongst municipals across the state.
We work with these guys out of town all the time. We work with them on storms. We know these guys, they're friends. We talk to them outside of work, you know, how they're doing things, how their company runs, you know, and it's just good camaraderie all the way around.
Supporting our guys, not only when they're up on the poles and making sure they get home to their families. As a wife, I felt that it was my duty to be supportive in our crews because it goes from the operations to the VPs and to our guys on the lines.
I'm super excited to be here, super excited to support him, super proud of him. He's worked really, really hard, spent a lot of time to prepare for the rodeo.
All of us take a lot of pride in what we do. We love it. We come out here and take a lot of pride in it, and then we go out of town and work on these storms and take a lot of pride in that. And then this is just to showcase all that. This is what we do every day. So it ends up being a good time, and we take a lot of pride in it.
So I'm happy to share that from FMEA, our OUC apprentices brought home 7 trophies from that Lineman Rodeo.
Yeah.
The first time in over a decade, 7 out of 8 OUC apprentices placed within the top 15 in the written exam. Specifically, line technicians Garrett Accomando, Eli Venn, and Aiden Flick finished first, second, and third respectively on the written exam. Multiple apprentices beyond themselves earned top quartile scores in other events. Garrett Accomando earned first place in the crossarm relocation event with a perfect score, securing the top spot by finishing just tenths of a second ahead of second place. In the mutual aid event, line techs from different utilities teamed up to simulate power restoration exercises that they would face while helping each other during storm events. With strong placings in the 6 events and the written exam, I'm pleased to share that Garrett and Aiden earned 4th and 5th places respectively in the overall apprentice ranking. 3 additional OUC apprentices also placed in the top 15. And our journeyman teams demonstrated precision, earning near perfect scores in their corresponding events. Impressive results.
Yeah.
Next slide. So for APPA, just 2 weeks later, our team traveled to Huntsville, Alabama, March 27th and 28th to complete in the APPA National Line Workers Rodeo. Our 8 apprentices and 2 journeyman teams represented OUC with excellence, competing against some of the most skilled professional linemen from public power utilities across the country. Even faced with this increased competition at the national level, I'm proud to share that our line techs performed extremely well again and upheld OUC's long-standing tradition of exceptional performance. Just as they did at the FMEA competition, our apprentices swept the apprentice written exam yet again. There, Aiden Flick placed 3rd, Dylan Tyler placed 2nd, and Garrett Accomando earned 1st place on the written exam. In the field events, Garrett continued to excel, placing 2nd in the single phase 2-wire tie-in and untie event, and earning 1st in the load transfer event. With these impressive results, I'm excited to share that Garrett earned 1st place not only among the large utility category, but for the overall apprentice event, finishing 1st out of 136 apprentices.
Wow.
It's an outstanding accomplishment for Garrett, and we could not be more proud of him.
Yeah.
So beyond bragging rights and a little bit of friendly competition at these events, the line worker rodeos allow participating utilities and technicians to sharpen their skills, share best practices, discover new tools and services, and participate in hands-on training. The rodeos also strengthen our relationships with other municipalities across the state and even the country, creating valuable partnerships that enhance our future mutual aid coordination and response. The rodeo also elevates OUC's visibility among technical skills and strengthens our recruitment pipeline. I would also like to recognize Chris Taylor, Construction and Maintenance Manager, James Alexander, Senior Technical Trainer, and Richard Boley, Lead Line Technician, who helped our line technicians prepare for both of these events leading up to the competitions and coordinating our participation. I feel confident in speaking for the entire rodeo team that none of this was achieved individually. We're extremely proud of their efforts and results. They all worked hard to prepare, collaborate, push each other to achieve these results. It was really heartwarming. I went to the APPA event in Huntsville, and it was really heartwarming to see the families there supporting them along the way. All right. So at this point, I would like to invite up Garrett, Aiden, Dylan, and Eli to come up to the front for a group photo. These are our top scores on the apprentice written exams at both FMEA and APPA.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So as they do their handshakes there, I'm going to ask Garrett to stay behind. We want to do an individual photo op for Garrett Accomando, our #1 apprentice at the APPA Lyman Rodeo.
Can you hold first overall or something? Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
You're practiced at this.
You guys are. No, you hold it.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
And lastly, I'll invite the entire apprentice team up. Like I said before, this was a team effort. These guys pushed each other to get to these results. I think I could speak for Garrett in saying he would tell you he did not achieve this alone. These guys all pushed each other, encouraged each other, challenged each other, practiced together along the way to get to this point.
Nice going, everybody. That's amazing.
It's a good thing we're not timed on this event.
Yeah.
Guys, come up. Ladies. Come on.
I'll be
Can we get James and Richard?
I'll be at the next commission meeting asking for funding to buy a new trophy case.
Yeah, right?
So, hold on, Steph. Apparently, we're not going to be able to take the photos without you two guys, so it's up to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Straggler. Do you want us to get a little closer, or what do you want?
Thank you.
Congratulations to the entire OUC Rodeo team for their skill, professionalism, dedication on both this state and national level. This shows again why OUC is at the top. Their hard work and training ensured we continue to deliver safe, reliable service to our community and proudly serve OUC customers. Let's give them one last round of applause. Yeah. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for that, Eddie. That was terrific. Thank you. Yeah, I've long said, right, mutual aid is like the thing that sets this industry apart from everything else. And this competition, the Lyman Rodeo, is just a great example of that. All right, I think we're handing it over to Attila, please.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Mayor Dyer, Commissioners, and Clint. I'm pleased to share two important achievements for OUC that highlight our commitment as the reliable one. The American Public Power Association, representing more than 2,000 utilities nationwide, recently named OUC as a reliable public power provider, or as it's known in the industry, the RP3 Diamond designation, the highest standard for reliability and operational excellence. Only 258 utilities nationwide hold any RP3 designation, and the Diamond level places OUC amongst the top performers in the country. Just 117 utilities have earned a Diamond distinction, and OUC is only one of 7 in Florida. For our customers, this recognition means confidence they can count on us. For our team, it's a reflection of the expertise, discipline, and pride they bring to work every day. To earn Diamond, utilities must score 98 out of 100 points across key areas, including reliability, safety, system improvement, workforce development. APPA evaluates how utilities invest in and strengthen their systems with a long-term view. OUC scored highly in these areas throughout. I'll highlight a few examples. Research and development efforts, including work with the Electric Power Research Institute to advance EV, solar, and energy storage technologies. Ongoing infrastructure planning, inspection, and replacement programs aligned with our long-term strategic view, Strategy 2035. The Diamond designation also recognizes utilities that invest in their people. At OUC, this includes strong recruitment and retention efforts, including our emerging talent and internship programs. Leadership development and succession planning to ensure continuity and long-term strength. Simply put, the strength of the OUC team is a major reason for this recognition. In reliability, RP3 evaluates outage performance, emergency preparedness, and protection of critical infrastructure. OUC earned top marks by our customers experiencing less than an outage on average per year, and when outages do occur, service is restored quickly with a total outage time averaging just over 37 minutes annually. Maintaining strong emergency preparedness, including regular drills and providing mutual aid assistance to other utilities to restore power quickly throughout the Florida Electric Power Coordination Group. Also want to recognize the dedicated team who helped curate the RP3 submission. From left to right, we have pictured Keith Mutters, Fabian Richards, Steve Cassios, and Carlos de Villa Munoz. I believe you're here with us today. If I could have you stand just so we can recognize you quickly. Their work ensured that our performance was represented at the highest level. And additionally, this is a learning opportunity for OUC to see, what areas we can improve on as we learn from peers and cross-reference the scores earned through the RP3 process. While this honor is meaningful, what stands out most is that OUC customers received the highest electric reliability in the state of Florida based on 2025 data submitted to the Florida Public Service Commission by investor-owned utilities. Specifically, this means that OUC delivered the shortest average interruption time, 29% more reliable than the next closest finisher. We restored outages faster, 37% than the next closest finisher, and we prevented nearly 40,000 outages last year alone through proactive grid hardening efforts. These results, now proudly displayed on our vehicles and in promotional campaigns, help tell our story to the community, that OUC is responsible and proactive in protecting our customers and strengthening our grid. These achievements belong to every team across OUC. Our field crews, our control room operators, our engineers, our planners, and the support teams who keep our system strong and our customers served. This recognition isn't just about what we've achieved, it's about what we continue to strive for together every single day. Thank you. Any questions?
Terrific. Thank you. Any questions?
Congratulations.
That was awesome. Terrific. Thank you. Thank you. All right. All right. Thank you, Attila, for that. We're going to move now to the affirmative items portion of the agenda. Mr. Bullock, before we consider the affirmative items, do we have any requests from the public to speak on the affirmative items?
Anyone to speak on the affirmative items, Paul? No. No one on the affirmative items.
Okay. Very good. Mr. Bullock, do you have comments or presentations regarding the affirmative items?
Yes, I would like to highlight a few agenda items for the commissioners here today. I'm going to ask Wade Gillingham to come up, and I'd like to highlight A7 and give a bit of an overview of this project. I know we've come to the board in the past for approval of this project, but I thought it was a good opportunity to walk through some elements of Chillwater as a whole, and then talk specifically about the changes related to this project, and then get specifically why we're here today because of those changes. So I asked Wade to put together a presentation to give an overview of this agenda item. So Wade.
Thank you, Commissioner Gross, Commissioners, Mayor Dyer, Clint. Thank you for the opportunity. Kind of hard to follow on the heels of the awards, but I'll do my best, right? So, for instance, this screen's not working here. Is that? but that's fine. I'll work my way through it. So let's talk a little bit about OUC district cooling and what OUC district cooling is. It's basically the concept of having a district energy plant, central cooling plant, that provides chilled water to customers in our community. And we send the water through pipes underground into their buildings. A quick little depiction here, why we do that, economies of scale. There's also the energy efficiency, water efficiency by having those economy of scale. And it reduces the capital investments for some of the community members as they build buildings and businesses and that type of in our community. Okay, next. One more. So we have 7 districts within the cooling districts. We have our downtown district, which is made up of 3 plants, the Millennia District, Universal, Goa, Lake Nona, Sheraton Vistana District, and the International Drive District. And I'm really here today we'll focus a little later on the International Drive District. With those, you can see the start of this venture. It's a non-regulated venture that OUC endeavored in 1997 with the Lockheed Martin chilled water plant and International Drive. Then we went to the 1998 and built 3 downtown plants, what we refer to as the north, the south, and the west plants. The Sheraton Vistana 2001, 2002 was Mall of Millennia, 2008 Lake Nona, 2022 Goa, and 2023 the most recent was Universal Epic Park specifically. So next. So with the International Drive District that I mentioned was started in 1997 with Lockheed Martin, we entered into an agreement with Orange County Convention Center. And back in the day, the Orange County Convention Center was just the West Concourse at that time, which has 2 chill water plants within the building itself. We commissioned a thermal energy storage tank. The thermal energy storage tank is adjacent to Lockheed Martin. And a little statistic, it holds about 17 million gallons of cold water, really cold water. The tank itself is nearly 75 yards in diameter and about 60 feet tall. And it's located, like I said, adjacent to the Lockheed Martin chiller plant and the Lockheed Martin parcel, if you will. The reason you have a thermal energy tank is it helps reduce the investment on the chiller tonnage that you need. So if you can store cold water in the off-peak, you pump the tank up in the off-peak and you can deliver it during the peak, so it cuts down on the demand of capacity you will need during the peak of the day. With that, the customers in that, as I mentioned, was the Lockheed, Orange County, Hyatt Regional, Hilton Grand Vacations. And then we reached another agreement to extend the 20-year term in 2023 with the Convention Center. We got some budgetary pricing then, and I'll go through that a little bit later, but we actually executed the agreement in 2025. It took a period of time there because we had to refresh a little bit of pricing at that time, along with the Civic Center said, the Convention Center, said they were going to be expanding the facility. So that took a little longer for us to execute. Next. So a little bit more about the iDrive. You can see the layout here with Lockheed at the top, the thermal energies tank. We have a pump station to drive the hydraulics, get the water down to the customers, get the Hilton. You got the Orange County Convention Center North and South Terminal, the Hyatt Pump Station #1 in the South Plant and the North Plant. Again, there's about almost 2 miles of pipe that's trenched from the plants in that network, showing a little bit the whole district capacity is about 17,000 tons of capacity. And again, it's 17 million gallons. It delivers at about 39 degrees. Thanks. A little about the Orange County Convention Center expansion itself. The total expansion in the box you can see is like 550,000 square feet. It's a $560 million investment. They actually broke ground on it in December. Construction started after the first of the year. It has a grand ballroom of 104,000 square feet that's added. That expands that north-south to be able to hold 10,000 guests. Quite a piece of expansion. You can see some of the breakdown. The meeting and hospitality, nearly a 250,000 feet. Back of house and support expanded by 185,000. The food and beverage area 17. Again, totaling up that 549,000. And you can see the additional tonnage from 2023 to 2025 because of the additional expansion was about 1,500 tons of capacity that had to be added to the 2023 agreement. Again, construction is beginning now as we speak, to be concluded in 2029. Next. A little bit more on the breakdown. When we entered the agreement 20 years ago, we had existing plants that were relatively, we'll say, long in the tooth. They were from 1987, 1988 timeframe. We maintained those plants quite well, but now the expansion of that is going to force us to build a new convention center, iDrive district, if you will, chill water facility. We executed agreement in June of last year. The initial construction budget in 2023 was $50 million, roughly almost $51 million. We went out for an RFP to do a design build. And generally it's that, and then we do our services for electric and water use for the facility. Since the 2023 commission approval, we've got chill water schedule, and as I mentioned, it's beginning hopefully this fall. We did revise the budget to $57 million. That was because of an increased cost in supply chain. And also the expansion itself in 2023 wasn't exactly known, that extra 550,000 square feet. So we had to adjust pricing accordingly. Next. So this is actually the parcel of land that we're going to target for the chilled water iDrive district plant. The little triangle there. It's an agreement that we worked out a couple years ago with Universal, and our substation is directly adjacent to that, along with the Lockheed Martin, and you can see the TES tank. So we're going to build that plant over near the Lockheed Martin facility, connect into the existing district piping that already exists. So there's minimal piping that has to be connected to the district. We've already incorporated in the previous agenda the OUC shared water and electric service, and if you want to call it wastewater service. So that's it. So that being said, we're asking for a change order of a $6.3 million, totaling the capital expenditure to just over $57 million, and a PO to SI Goldman for the turnkey design build scope of services for the chill water iDrive plant in just over $53 million. Any questions?
Questions, guys? Questions?
You answered my question.
No, it just always seems like a huge win-win. I'm amazed that not every utility offers this, and everyone does this fantastic program. Thank you.
Thank you, Wade. Commissioners, I do have one more agenda item. I'm asking Lemoyne Adams to come up, and he's going to speak on affirmative items. I believe it's 10, 11, I believe. And this is related to overhead, underground distribution conversion, grid hardening pilot project. We came in the fall and talked about College Park. And so we'll give a little bit of an update on how that project's going. And we wanted to share with you 2 additional projects that we're doing as a pilot as we continue to understand the cost, the scope, and then figure out a strategy where we want to go moving forward. So Lemoyne, could you give us an update on?
Thank you, Clint. Commissioner Gross, Mr. Mayor, Clint, thank you very much. Next slide. So yes, as Clint mentioned, I will be covering the existing pilot project that was already approved by the board in August. Talk a little bit about the upcoming 2 pilot projects and review a little bit about reliability, resiliency, grid hardening opportunities that we have, and then challenges and lessons learned that we have already obtained from the first pilot project. So although, so we do have a long history here at OUC with outstanding reliability. It didn't take me long. I've been here 33 years, and didn't take me long when I first started working here to kind of understand that reliability was really an integral part of what we do here in our culture, very important to us, and still is today. So for more than 23 years, OUC's average annual system average interruption duration index has been 44.4 minutes, with 68% of our distribution system being underground, while maintaining over 1,300 miles of overhead primary distribution. So although we do have internal reliability goals, we also benchmark our performance against others to ensure that we remain competitive. As you can see on the screen, in 24, our SAIDI was 37.3. In 25, our SAIDI was 32.8. And you see there how we stack up against and how we measure against other IOUs across the state from FPNL, FPUC, Duke, and TICO. So we are performing really well in this area, and we feel good about where we are. Maintaining reliability and improving resiliency. So reliability, essentially, commissioners, is the ability to deliver power to customers with minimal interruption and consistent quality. And as I stated before, we feel good about our reliability and certainly want to maintain that moving forward. Resiliency, however, is the ability to recover from extreme weather events like hurricanes, storms, heat waves, cold weather events, etc. So the resiliency space is where we want to be more forward-thinking and where we feel there are opportunities for growth and improvement, especially in the area of hurricane recovery. So as we know, hurricanes can cause tremendous damage across our territory. What most people may not know, however, is that vegetation causes the majority of damage to our electric distribution system. Most people probably think it's the high winds associated with hurricanes, but that's not really the case. Occasionally that does happen, but most of the time our facilities aren't really blown down. They're torn down by fallen trees, large limbs, literally tearing down our overhead primary conductor, breaking insulators, and breaking poles. In addition to that, in older areas of our territory, we still have poles in rear lots behind the houses. So restoration, as you can imagine, takes longer because of all the access issues. People have fences, they have sheds, they have landscaping, pets, dogs, etc. And it's just harder to maneuver around in the rear lot. And we can't get trucks in the rear lot. So many times we have to climb poles. So very time intensive, labor intensive, and maintaining rear lot vegetation also is expensive and intrusive for many of the same reasons, the access issues, not being able to get trucks in the rear lot. Also, because of the damage that occurs during hurricanes, mutual aid assistance is necessary in order to recover in a timely fashion, which can be expensive as well. So here I just wanted to kind of illustrate, in case you haven't seen, in case you weren't here during Charlie, Francis, or Gene or something like that, but this is just a picture of the damage that can be caused by trees and limbs falling. You can see all of that has to be cleared out before we can actually recover and restore power. So again, very labor intensive and takes significant amounts of time to clear these limbs and trees and debris to restore power. So in order for us to improve on our ability to recover from extreme weather events, we do have a few initiatives that are underway. Currently, 68% of our distribution system is underground, like I mentioned earlier, and that's due mainly because of the growth that we've experienced in new subdivisions. All of our new subdivisions are underground, so that number essentially goes up a little bit every year. We also have a wood pole inspection program, and our poles are designed to meet extreme wind loading guidelines, and our 3-year vegetation clearance trim cycle helps harden the grid as well. New opportunities that we're currently evaluating are the acceleration and installation of smart grid devices, enhanced vegetation management for removing service overhang, fast-growing species, and hazard tree removals. And also what we're really here today to talk about is the conversion of existing overhead facilities to underground. So on August 12th, OUC approved our first overhead to underground pilot project. The project is located in the College Park area along West Hazel Street and Oberlin Avenue. Factors used to prioritize these laterals for underground conversion are high vegetation falling risk score, poor accessibility, rear lot, like I spoke about earlier, age and condition of existing overhead facilities, and number of customers impacted. Excuse me. This first pilot project was chosen for all of those factors except for number of customers impacted. This project is smaller in nature. essentially is a one block area with only 22 customers. And we decided to keep this project, the first pilot project, really small so that we could better understand firsthand the customer communication and outreach effort that would be involved. Also, we wanted to hear directly from our customers and obtain their feedback in order to test our policies and procedures and make sure that we knew about those so we can make improvements for the future. So this is our original time frame. Again, the first pilot project was approved in August. We worked with marketing and communication to get literature out and communication out to our customers. We began to order materials, transformers, cable, etc. And then in November, we actually met with the customers about the project. Myself, Attila, I think Juan Diaz is in the audience here. Maybe, yes, there's Juan, Director of Engineering. Mike Stingel, our engineer. We actually met out there one evening after work, knocked on doors, walked the neighborhoods, talked to the customers about the project. It was really good insight, and we got to engage with them. Some customers were really excited. Some were on the fence, right? But it was a good opportunity for us to get out and actually meet the customers and get that feedback. December through March, we've been working on securing the acknowledgement letters, the easements, and permits. And our original time frame, we were scheduled for a tentative start in April. We've done fairly well with keeping to that schedule, although we do have a few challenges that I want to talk about next. So making repetitive attempts to contact homeowners has been a really big challenge for us. It's labor intensive, knocking on doors, sending out certified letters in the mail, leaving messages, playing phone tags. So that process has really been very labor intensive, the back and forth. And the same can be said for homes owned by companies and that are managed through property management companies. One of the companies has an address in Canada. Another one has an address in California. So just trying to find the right person to talk to discuss the project has been a challenge for us. And then securing the agreements to perform work on the customer premise, those have gone relatively smoothly because this document is not really a legal document. It's in plain English, doesn't have to be notarized, and essentially gives us permission to work on the customer's premise. Securing the legal easement, however, has been a little more challenging because this is a legal document, does have to be notarized, and it's a bigger commitment for the customer because they're having to get a transformer or have a transformer installed and an easement on their property. So it's a bigger commitment for them. Alternate designs for customers who may have to remain overhead because we weren't able to contact them. That's been a challenge as well because it takes engineering time to redo the designs, right? And then prescriptive rights versus easement. So this is also a challenge because in some of our older areas, we don't have easements. We're there on a prescriptive rights, which prescriptive rights, you're very limited in what you can and can't do. And my legal counsel has counseled me on that, on things we can and can't do. So those present additional challenges and considerations as well.
Why don't you remind the commissioners, you said transformer, talk about the ratio of transformers, right? And then talk about what the easement is for.
Yeah, so I'll get into a little bit about when you say ratio, it's five transformers are needed for these 22 lots. And then I'll kind of get into the requirements for that. The transformer, we always get easements for our transformers. We don't have to get an easement for the secondary cables going into the property. The primary cable and conduit that connects each transformer, we've installed that in the right-of-way to reduce the need for so many easements. And then we kind of curve into the customer's property to install the transformer. And we do that because we don't want to get into a situation down the road where we have to relocate a transformer. We want to make sure that we have the rights to be there. So,
Can I ask a question about this? So even just 22 homes in this first pilot that we did, it still wasn't possible to get the attention of each one of the either homeowners or property management companies. We had to actually do some alternate design because somebody wasn't available.
So I'll get into a little bit later, but I'll just mention the one customer is an elderly person So I think she's a little wary. We've knocked on her door. We see her peek through Juan sees her peek through the blinds, and then she closes the blinds and doesn't answer. We'll leave literature in the mailbox. So I think she's just a little bit leery of us. But in that particular case, she's near overhead primary at the end of the block, so we can just continue to feed her overhead. And then the other problem area is, or problem customer is the one that I talked about with respect to it's a property management company owned property, and just we finally found the person to talk to, but now it's with their legal department.
So, but it means that if we ever have to do repairs, we still have to find these folks, even if power's down, right? We can't go into backyards, or can we go into backyards if lines are down during a storm or something? We still have access issues today.
So for the one customer, the old elderly young woman. So luckily, like I said, she's at the end of the block.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't have to access her, the rear lot for her. And then the other one that's owned by the company is on the other end of the block.
Well, I was just fortunate then. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but to your point, sometimes it may not be that way, and we would have to figure out alternative designs to make it work for the entire neighborhood.
Wow.
Some people may have to, and other companies go through this as well that we've talked through and built relationships with. Sometimes you do have to have customers remain overhead. And then typically what happens is once they see the benefit of the undergrounded system down the road, they want to come back in underground. So we've heard those stories from our peers in the industry as well.
Interesting. Thank you.
So I think so yes, lessons learned. So we'll definitely need additional resources to support customer outreach for the 2 new pilot projects. We have enlisted our contractor, HDD, to assist with customer outreach and securing easements and work authorizations, identifying the rental and company-owned properties early. As I mentioned, it's a lot more difficult to find the right person to talk to in those situations, so identifying them early in the process really, really helps. Setting up the customer expectation of transformer size and easement dimension. So what we're finding is if the customer agrees up front that they want the transformer and easement on their property, we really want to ensure they understand the dimensions of the easement and the size of the transformer, because what has happened is once we started staking out the easement dimensions in their yard, we did have one person decide that they didn't want the easement anymore. So getting a clear understanding with the customer of what those dimensions and sizes look like is very key and critical. And then design flexibility. This one is, I think, is a big learning opportunity for us here. A transformer typically serves 4 to 6 homes. And so the transformer can easily be installed on any one of those 6 properties. But the lesson learned here, I think, is that during our initial customer outreach, let's go ahead and get a sense from those 6 customers who might want or is okay with us installing a transformer on their property, right? Because some people are more excited than others. And then once, right? And then do that for the entire project, the entire neighborhood. And then once we identify those customers, go back to the engineering team, have that information then drive our design, right, and transformer placement.
That's good.
What we did for this first pilot was we designed the system up front before we made initial contact to customers. So we only approached the one customer about the transfer easement requirement. And so as you can imagine, as we start negotiating, weeks have passed by. When that customer changed their mind, now we have to go back to the other 5 customers and try to get an alternate design approach. So that wasted time, and I think this approach will speed the design and construction process up moving forward. So, current state, where are we now? As I mentioned earlier, we have 22 customers for this project. We have 5 transformer locations, so 5 easements are required. So I was all prepared to say that we have 5 customers who initially agreed on the easement, and then 1 customer changed their mind. But luckily, I looked at my phone, and Juan said the 1 customer that did change their mind, we found an alternate customer for that customer, and now we have all 5 easements, right, Juan? We have all 5 easements that we need. We have agreement on that. So all 5 transformer locations are hopefully dialed in. With respect to work authorization, so 18 out of 22 work authorization letters have been received. 2 of the remaining 4 have agreed, and we're waiting on those signatures as well. And then we're also waiting on the 1 property management company to return that work authorization to us. And then I spoke earlier about the 1 customer that we can't contact, and we're going to just feed her overhead. So at this time, construction is really pending on the work authorization from the company-owned premise. And once we obtain that, then we can move forward with construction. So we have 2 additional pilot projects that we're seeking approval for today. They are very similar in size and scale and scope. The first one is in the Pine Hills area, North Hastings Street, just south of Silver Star Road. It contains 92 lots. We're going to be removing approximately 5,100 feet of overhead primary conductor, 46 poles, 20 pole mount transformers, and installing underground primary cable, 21 pad mounted transformers, and 10 primary enclosures. Next project is Holden Avenue, located just east of Orange Blossom Trail. We'll be removing 6,000 feet of overhead primary conductor, 41 poles, 23 pole mounted transformers, and again installing primary enclosures and converting them to the front lot. This project is 109 lots, and as you probably have already noticed, these 2 projects are a lot larger in scale and scope than the first. The first was 22. These are close, around 100 lots, and they all meet the factors that I spoke about earlier. High vegetation falling in risk score, rear lot, hard to access, age of facilities, and number of customers impacted. So we'll take the lessons learned from our customer outreach and communications from the first project and then apply those to these 2. And then once we start construction on the first pilot project, we'll take those lessons learned from that and apply them here as well. So we're extremely excited about the first pilot project. I was really glad, Juan, you sent me the information. So we're 1 step closer, moving forward to construction there. And then we're also very excited about moving forward with these next 2 pilot projects as well. So we are seeking commission approval of capital expenditure estimates for the grid hardening project on North Hastings Street in the amount of $1.959 million. Also a purchase order to HDD for the same project in the amount of $1.1 million. And then a capital expenditure estimate for the second pilot project along Holden Avenue for $2.217 million, and purchase order to HDD for the same project in the amount of $1.275 million. Any questions?
Any questions? Any questions? Man, this is harder than it seems like it has to be. You're spending money in these communities. It sounds like it's just such an easy decision. All right, but I appreciate the effort very much. Come storm time, this is going to be really important.
Thank you.
Great summary of the lessons learned.
Thank you, Lemoyne.
Who knew? Who knew?
Yes. Thank you, Lemoyne. I don't have any further agenda items unless commissioners, you have any questions for me.
Let's see. Anyone else have any questions about affirmative items?
No, not here.
I think I've got one question about A8.
Okay.
This is one of the Stanton things. And I wanted to ask about the Stanton site and what we're doing with the movement of the site. And I just wondered, because I know that it's important what happens at OGS compared to what's happening at Stanton relative to our ability to leverage the natural gas out there and what we're doing with the conversion of the Stanton plant. And so I'm just wondering, just not so that we don't seem like we're rubber stamping everything all the time, we really do try to think about these issues up here. What is the schedule for integrating the OGS solution into our our transition plans for Stanton 1 and 2, 1 anyway.
Okay, great question. I think I'll have Attila come up, even though Wade signed A8. It's really two elements to answer that question related to the GSU at OGS as well as the transmission. So Attila, could you answer that question?
Commissioner Gross, thank you for the question. I think presented last spring regarding the prerequisite work that was needed at OGS to bring all three CTs at OGS up. The team has made significant progress. The two key prerequisites, if I can refresh everyone's memory, was the 230 interconnection separating the OGS generating site from the Duke system and connecting it directly to the OUC system. Happy to report that one of the two 230 kV connections has been completed from OGS directly into our Rocky Pond substation. The single 230 line does have enough capacity for all three generating units. And so that was recently completed here within the last 2 weeks. Second key prerequisite was the manufacturing and delivery of a new generator step-up unit to replace the generating step-up unit that was damaged on OGS unit number 2. That generator step-up unit has been delivered, has been installed on the pad, and has been tested. And so those two prerequisites are now met, and the team is continuing with the power generation work associated with the final commissioning of OGS Unit 2. So that involves startup testing, compliance testing, and testing on both primary and backup fuel. So I think we set a target date of April 1st last year. As of the first week of April, we've met those two prerequisites, and now we are continuing with the commissioning work of the generator itself, which we anticipate to have concluded by the end of this month.
End of this month.
Yes.
So that we can proceed with the Stanton 1 transition into extended cold storage. That seems to be on track then.
That's correct. We would like to have about a 60-day overlap with both sites functioning and being dispatched, but I think we're pretty close to the original schedule.
Okay. Okay. All right. I think that's all I had about those items.
Great.
Are there, again, I'll just ask again, are there any members of the public who want to speak and address the commission on affirmative items? This is a public item.
That's under general appearances,
This is
correct?
general.
Not
Anyone
under
want to speak on the
affirmative items.
affirmatives?
No.
All right, I don't see any hands in the air. Any other comments or questions here from the board? All right. So is there a motion now to approve affirmative items A1 through A30?
Move approved.
We have a motion and we have a second. Any other discussion? If not, we'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion passes. Thank you all. All right, I understand there's no new business today, so we'll move on to presentations, Clint.
Correct.
Mr. McCollum, would you like to present the financial report?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Gross. Good afternoon, Commissioners, Mayor. Good afternoon, Clint. Brief comments on the February financial report. The interim financial statements for February are in your board packet with additional commentary. On your screen, we have a summary of the results through February. At the bottom line there on the table, you'll see our net income before contributions is $9.3 million ahead of budget. That's largely a result of lower than budgeted expenses, so that's great, both on unit department expenses, depreciation, amortization, and some non-operating expenses. On the revenue side, we're pretty close to budget. On the retail side, we are right on top of budget. Chilled water revenues, and other revenues are all in line with budget. One thing I want to point out is that the wholesale electric revenues in this chart is net of a $25 million deferral of revenues to base stabilization reserves. I mentioned this at the last board meeting that we were anticipating some pretty strong wholesale revenues coming in as a result of the cold weather event at the beginning of February and the opportunities that afforded us for selling wholesale revenues. Wholesale revenues are energy sales that we make to other utility companies that then deliver that energy to their customers. So as opposed to retail sales to our own customers within the OUC and St. Cloud service territory. So In total, we had almost $40 million of wholesale revenues in the month of February. So that's really excellent for OUC customers. That's a testament to the great work of the power marketing team, the power generation team, the transmission team. It takes a team to be able to arrange for these wholesale contracts and to deliver and transmit the power to where it needs to go. So I just want to say thank you to all of the teams that do that great work. It really does help our retail customers be able to use our OUC assets to generate wholesale revenues. So all in all, fiscal year to date, October through February, we are in great financial shape, and I'll be back at the next board meeting with further updates. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Questions at all?
Just one question, the one you're expecting about gas prices and oil prices, and you've got an additional $25 billion in your reserves to address that, but what's your outlook right now on what's gonna, how, if any, that's gonna affect your fuel charges?
Sure. Great question, Commissioner. Thank you. There's multiple parts to the answer to that. As it relates to gasoline prices, we're not particularly exposed to gasoline prices. We do have a fleet of vehicles that run off gasoline and diesel, and we have seen increased expenses there. The majority of our generating assets run off of natural gas and currently coal, but primarily natural gas. We do have fuel backup storage, number 2 fuel oil, which our tanks, I believe, have been restocked after using some of that inventory to get us through the cold weather event. Our timing was pretty great because I think we refilled those tanks right before the conflict with Iran started, so we were able to refill our tanks at the lower price point. I will say on the natural gas side, we, as we mentioned at the last meeting, we have a strong hedging policy in place that helps protect us on the natural gas side. Most of what we saw during the cold weather event on natural gas in Florida was related to pipeline capacity constraints. We have long-term capacity contracts within the pipeline, and so even though we may see quoted prices for delivery in our area of $60, $70, $80 an MMBTU, we're not paying those levels because we have the capacity for the pipeline under contract. And then we have the Fuel Stabilization Fund, as I mentioned before, which that was one thing I didn't mention during my February comments. The Fuel Stabilization Fund actually was increased by about $15 million, largely as a result of the wholesale revenues as well. So strong hedging program, strong fuel stabilization reserve, which helps protect OUC customers, and we continue to watch the markets. The natural gas market is not as impacted by global events as the gasoline and diesel markets are, but we continue to watch what's going on in the Middle East, that this conflict has probably lasted maybe a little bit longer than some people expected, and there's not quite an end in sight, so it's something that we talk about on a regular basis, and we'll keep you updated if there's any material events.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I'll just add a couple elements to that as it relates to the Strait to Hormuz. And Chris hit on everything except for want to speak on liquefied natural gas. The U.S. Has been an exporter of that, so we've been pretty tapped out in the U.S., so we don't see additional pressure in the short term on natural gas. Certainly is an impact in that region. But because the U.S. is pretty much tapped out. Now, if things midterm, long term, if there's more production in the U.S., then that will have a direct correlation on the price of natural gas. So it is dynamic. I mean, things could even change another degree this evening, depending on what the latest condition that the president is thinking this evening. But at the moment, as Chris said, we don't foresee any significant impact to OUC based on the measures that Chris mentioned that are in place, and as it relates to where the U.S. stands related to liquefied natural gas. But we'll keep monitoring that as we move forward, and that it could change as this thing is certainly dynamic.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you. Anything else? Thank you. It's great to see that we could actually help. Also, the strength of the position is real strong, and we could help out other utilities during the storms and the cold weather. Thank you. Let's see. Other than Mr. Thornton, do we have any other members of the public that have requested to address the board?
We do not.
We do not. Mr. Jason Thornton, do you want to? Oh, there you go. Come on up here. Let me just make a couple of brief comments about this. Hold on just one second. thank you for being here, first of all. It would be great if you would state your name and address, whether you're an OUC customer, and then please, if you could limit it to 3 minutes, that would be great. And we may direct the questions to our officers or staff to help address your concerns or questions. And, but please, thank you, go ahead.
Perfect. My name is Jason Thornton, and I live at 5542 Donnelly Circle. I'm not an OUC I'm not an OUC customer though. And yes, if I could start. So good afternoon. My name is Jason Thornton, and I'm here today representing Gen Cleo. We are a youth-led movement dedicating to helping young people take action to advance a future powered by clean, affordable energy. I'm a 17-year-old high school student that missed high school today to show how young people the amazing future that renewables have to hold for us. And that is why I'm here today, trying to find some answers to the questions we have for our future. The first question I am very curious of is if OUC is still planning on shutting down Stanton Coal Plant 1. We all know how incredibly harmful the burning of coal is. And incredibly harmful the burning of coal and other fossil fuels are to our environment, and we want to make sure we are staying on the path to a brighter future for all the young Floridians that want to stay in Orlando after they graduate. If we are shutting down Stanton Coal Plant 1, what is the timeline of converting from coal to natural gas on Stanton Coal Plant 2? Also, have you purchased the supplies needed for this transition? If not, we truly want you to understand how important and plausible renewable energy is to the city of Orlando, and how I speak to thousands of young people on a month-to-month basis and the stress they put on needing renewables in Orlando. They understand that it is cheaper for renewables and to reverse the damage we have done to our planet. OUC does not own any other solar or the land that is being held on. After the 20-year plan, we will not have anything to show for it, and we will have to start from ground zero again. And my last question I did have was the integrated resource plan. Usually by this time of the year, everything's put up and the public comment available. I haven't been able to find it personally, but if there's anywhere you could direct me for, that'd be great.
Perfect. Thank you for your comments today. We'll make sure someone gets back to you with information about where the EIRP will be, because I think it's a process that kind of just got started.
Perfect.
But thank you very much for the inputs today. Really do appreciate that. Thank you. Sorry you missed school, but appreciate the input for sure. Okay, let's see. I think we're going to move forward with general manager's comments at this point. Clint?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Gross. Jason, I just want to commend you on your courage to stand up here and speak about your passion. So not easy to do as a young man, but I think you did a great job. So I just want to commend you on that.
Clint, sorry, could I go back to one item that I'm so out of practice, this is horrible. Mr. Woody, do we have any legal issues you'd like to discuss today? No, I have no. All right, great. I anticipated that. All right, now over to you, Clint.
Great, thank you. I do have two items I would like to update the board on, sticking in the theme of reliability and line techs and resiliency and conversion of overhead to underground. RP3, number one position compared to the investor owns on reliability. I'll give you one more in that arena, and I wanted to give you an update related to mutual aid. One to just give you an update on what OUC has been involved with, specifically around the state with a group called FCG, Florida Electric Power Coordination Group. It's actually been around since 1970. Curtis Stanton was one of the founding members. Yes, that's the name of Stanton Energy Center. And it's really an effort to bring together the entire state and the industry together as you think about municipals, cooperatives, and investor owns, and recognize as a state, we're all responsible. And so as part of the legacy, part of the scope was looking at legislation opportunities to partner on, environmental opportunities to partner on. And that theme really was the beginning of what we are now called the FRCC, Florida Reliability Coordination Council. But the SCG continues to work together going back when I was a VP in operations. We certainly were impacted by a Hurricane Irma, I believe it was, and it was an opportunity to say we should talk more about mutual aid also. And the chair at the time was CEO at TECO, said, well, if you believe so strongly about it, then why don't you get a group going? And so I did just that. And proud to say the group continues to meet on an annual basis, and the objective is to continue to share and learn from each other. I think one thing I believe strongly and philosophically is, as a state, we're only as good as that last utility. And I think it's a really important philosophy that we need to maintain as utilities, as sometimes we get in our own lane and we think about, no doubt, our customers and our community and how important that is. We work hard not to make it a competition. But the reality is the scorecard on the state of Florida is that last utility. And I think also another philosophical element, it's really important to make sure that we continue to demonstrate as an industry of all three sectors, whether it's local, state, or federal, that the utilities are in the best position to coordinate and manage mutual aid. We can never send a signal that we are not the strongest and best option. And I think that really got magnified with Hurricane Sandy a few years ago in the New York area. They were hit and devastated, and even OUC went all the way up to New York to help. And there are a lot of questions about the process and coordination. It is very difficult. And so OUC hosted the annual event. There's an annual event that we do also. OUC hosted it. And we had a variety of folks. Some of them are here today that attended. We had a variety of presenters. And we all, again, talk about how we do the lodging, how we do pre-staging, how we leverage new technology like drones, and just how we learn from each other. So I just wanted to share that. Hurricane season is year-round. Preparation is year-round for the utility. And I just wanted to share an update as the team continues to work through that and how we're sharing and working with other utilities. The second thing I just wanted to share Commissioner Brown, asked about it. What's the impact related to the conflict in Iran? And I think it's an important piece as we, as a board, talk about, the energy markets, the fuel markets, and I really think we address one element that I was going to update the board on. But I want to also update you on another element related to this event that we're watching very closely as it relates to cybersecurity. I just want to, share with the board that we have a heightened awareness internally based on the events that have been occurring over the past several weeks. We've got an incident command structure in place. We've got additional training in place for our employees and our contractors. We're very mindful. We've seen other companies in the U.S. already be impacted from a cyber standpoint. We know that as electric and water utilities, we're a target. And so it's a very important program that we're very focused on it right now, making sure that our employees are aware. We know that entrance through phishing and through frontline employees is a way that they get in, and so it's important that we all maintain our due diligence. It's important that we look at those emails carefully and be sure if we click on something that we know who's sending it, and if we see something, say something. I think also in light of the last sort of few days and speculation and targets of bridges and power plants, et cetera, the physical security is just as important. And Carlos and his team are taking additional steps, as well as all the operators that are out in the field. We try to encourage, if you see something that doesn't look right, just report it. So I think the physical security is an important item that we need to be addressing right now too. So it is dynamic. We'll continue to monitor where this goes, but I just wanted to give you some assurance that we are talking about internally. We are putting procedures in place, and we want to make sure we stay diligent throughout this conflict, and hopefully things will get resolved perhaps sooner than later for all of us. Those are the items I wanted to share with the board here today. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. I think we're wrapping up here. Ask for any kind of commissioner comments here at the end?
No, just
Commissioner-
congratulations on the diamond level. Job well done. Great team. And also on all of the awards. I had never heard of the lineman competition. But once again, great team. And that, of course, builds self-esteem within your employees. They're working together, working as a team. But congratulations, and congratulations to the team as a whole. You guys are doing some great things here, as I mentioned at the last meeting. Somehow, and I'm going to say this again, how do we get the word out about all that you're doing here at OUC? I'll say it again, but congratulations.
Great, thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Commissioner Brown.
One of the great things about serving with Dr. Williams is when she goes first, she says everything I need to say. So I'll just echo those comments.
Mayor?
Okay, then I'll follow up with ditto.
Uh-oh.
Apprentices, and of course, we always love additional validation that we are the reliable one. So that's fantastic. And I will mention that it's 407 Day in the city of Orlando. That originated during COVID when our small businesses were being substantially affected, that we wanted to make sure that we supported them, and we continue to do that today, as well as recognize all the great things in the city of Orlando.
Thank you. Jason, thank you for coming today. It means more than you think to hear from folks here in the area. Just completely love the drumbeat of safety and reliability today, every day, because it's so important. We saw that with the Lineman Rodeo. By the way, it's the coolest thing you can ever attend. OUC hosted a couple years ago, and I got to go, and it's fabulous. It's fabulous. I did want to go back to last week and not only welcome Commissioner Brown and Commissioner Williams, because I missed her to last meeting that I missed. So please welcome and thank you for your participation here. But I also wanted to thank the entire OUC team for the heroics during the winter event, Fern, and so on. And it really killed me not to be here to just say that directly. I even started typing, I just never got to finish. But I just wanted to say, I'm also extremely proud of the team. I thought about you constantly as you're sending me notes of just the least you can do, customer Britta, is like, don't run this or do trickle your water. And I thought it was fabulous. And I'm just always thinking at the same time, yeah, but you guys someone's out there in the cold working on some of these systems. So I really wanted to appreciate that. And I also wanted to commend the communications and transparency, because I did feel like I was along for the ride on this one. Really appreciated that. It was really well done. And then finally, I just wanted to say that sometimes the heroics, it's in the field, but it's also behind some of the desks here. And I know that some heroics were performed during that cold event, folks that were questioning some of the models, maybe outside the industry, looking at other sort of related grid systems. And we found some things, and I think that's terrific that folks are really thinking in an emergency about, does this all make sense? Are we doing right by the state and by the region? So terrific job all around. I really want to commend the team for that. Thank you. I think with that said, unless there are other comments here, we are going to adjourn the meeting at 3:33. Thank you. All right.
Friday, I'm going to meet you after this.
Okay.